Hey YouTube, welcome back to Axis and Allies, the Garrison, coming to you from the bunker here in Rochelle Park, New Jersey. Once again, coming to you with another episode of the YouTube Wars. Alright, so guys, what can I say? It's been an extremely exciting series of turns that we had for round 7. Okay, we went all the way up to Italy's turn. Italy definitely inflicting massive pain on the Allies, specifically the United States, where in season 106, the Italian, the single destroyer, okay, destroyed 5 Allied naval transports that were off the coast of Nova Scotia. That, my friend, was a big, big blow to the Allied war effort. In essence, it may lead to the loss of the war for the Allies. However, I don't want to exaggerate. The Allies, believe it or not, are still in the war. This war is going to go all the way till the very end. Yes, till the very end. Pretty much right now, it's a 50-50 deal. Okay, I would say, and that was just my opinion, my personal belief, that prior to Italy's turn, the odds were actually in favor of the Allies winning the war. Having said that, though, things have changed because of that one major mistake that we, the Allies, made by leaving our fleet exposed to the Italian attack, the naval Italian attack on season 106. Hey, mistakes are made, and I am guilty of that, okay? So, actually, we have all made our share of mistakes. The question is, which mistakes are more dangerous or can inflict more danger on your war effort, okay? So, yeah, big mistake. Also, because we can now have a better view of the game ahead of us, Dutch Lancaster will not be performing his moves with the Anzacs. In essence, there's no need to. Whatever the Anzacs do in the Pacific theater of the war really has no effect on the game itself. So from this moment onwards, we are now officially moving the round marker up to round 8, okay, which means that we're going to go ahead with this episode with Germany's turn. And of course, Germany is under the command of Field Marshal Sire Blood, who has also played an exemplary game where he has not only risked, okay, but has also played extremely well. Definitely showing us his tactical and strategic intellect, okay? And good for him and good for us, because you know what? We're watching and we're learning from your moves, Field Marshal Sire Blood, okay? And of course, credit's got to be given to also to VK Cowboy, because he has also played an excellent game. Then again, hey, we have all played well, I think, overall. Needless to say, we have made our share of mistakes, but here we are. In any case, it is Germany's turn. Critical role, okay, that Germany will play now, because in essence, much rests on what will be going on today and what will happen with Germany's turn. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you guys think, as always, and let me know. We'll be back shortly with the order of battle. So it is officially the beginning of round 8. It is Germany's turn. The current score is 10 victory points out of 12 victory points that the Axis powers need in order to win the game. Okay, so that's 10 out of 12. Okay, so the Axis need to acquire an additional 2 for them to achieve their final objectives. Okay, so let's review the current ground and naval situation for the Germans. As you can see, on the Eastern Front, the Germans have basically withdrawn. They are allowing Russia to continue its counteroffensives, and it makes sense for the Germans to do so, because right now there are no victory objectives victory points actually, that the Germans can acquire on the Eastern Front. So basically, it's a useless gesture for them to oppose the Russians on the Eastern Front at this point in time. If anything, it is in the Mediterranean where the majority of the victory points can be acquired by the Axis. So that's where the Germans and Italians are focusing their resources. Also, there is one victory objective up in the north, or victory point, that the Germans can acquire for the Axis, and that is the European wall, or the Atlantic wall, actually, where let's remember that it is required that 4 ground units be placed in the territories of Norway, Denmark, Holland, and Normandy. Okay, these are in order for the Germans to acquire a victory point, they need to have at least 4 ground units on each of these 4 territories. Okay, and of course they need to keep them there for the remainder of round 8. Okay, so that's where ultimately battles may be fought. Or there's also another place where things can get hot and heavy for the Axis and the Allies. Okay, and it's in Morocco, where the Allies still have an option of performing an amphibious landing. All right, so the U.S., even though the U.S. did lose its naval transport fleet in Sea Zone 106, the U.S. did have an additional fleet of 3 naval transports and protected by a U.S. aircraft carrier consisting of 3 naval transports. Okay, unfortunately, this force is a smaller force than the one in Nova Scotia that was poised for an amphibious operation. Of course, this force in Nova Scotia, this U.S. Army group here, will not see action because it's just not possible with the loss of the U.S. naval fleet in Sea Zone 106. All right, so then, yes, so basically, as you can see, the Germans are starting to reinforce their mainland Western Europe, because they do foresee a situation where they're going to start reinforcing the Atlantic wall. Okay, so it makes perfect sense for them to do so. All right, so what did I must mention also that as you can see, the Germans have lost the seas. Okay, so currently the Allies are in control of the Atlantic, with the exception of 2 German submarines that are in Sea Zone 119. This is what's left of the Kriegsmarine. Okay, and let's see how Sireblood goes about utilizing these 2 submarines to promote or aid with their war effort. All right, so let's go over the purchases that the Germans made. The Germans recruited an additional 8 infantry units, or 8 infantry divisions, along with 3 Tiger tanks, 3 King Tigers, and 4 artillery divisions. Okay, needless to say, the majority of these purchases are really unnecessary. Some of them are, but the majority are really just a useless gesture at this point in time, because we are in the beginning of round 8. There will be no round 9. It is the end of the game. All right, so sit tight. We shall return with the order of battle. All right, so sit tight. We shall return shortly with the order of battle. All right, so let's review the order of battle here, the combat movements that Sireblood will be making with his German Navy and Air Forces. All right, so you have the battle for Sea Zone 104, where you have a U.S. aircraft carrier with a British contingent, or 1 Spitfire squadron on board. You also have a British battleship and cruiser, okay, being attacked by a swarm of German aircraft and 2 U-boats from the German Navy. So the 2 U-boats are coming from Sea Zone 119. All right. 3 this set of 3 aircraft, 3 German fighter squadrons consisting of 2 fighter squadrons and 1 tactical bomber squadron are coming from Scotland, I believe, and the other 3 fighters are coming from England. Okay, at a movement of a movement of 2 actually. Okay, so they will all have three movements left in their gas gauges. These three tactical bombers are coming from Gibraltar at a movement of 1 and 2. They also will have three movements left in their gas gauges. All right, so that's a total of 9 aircraft and 2 submarines attacking the combined Allied fleet in Sea Zone 104. Okay, that's the first battle. There's a total of 4 battles that were declared by Germany. Okay, the second battle is being performed by one single German armored division, which is this one coming from Egypt at a movement of 2. It's actually performing a blitzkrieg. It's blitzing through Anglo-Egyptian Sudan and moving further south into Kenya. All right, so what that does for the Germans or the Axis is that it now brings them up to 13 victory points, because now the Axis powers have secured the Africa Horn, which consists of Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, Kenya, Italian Somaliland, Ethiopia, and British Somaliland. Okay, so here we have the victory objective of the Horn of Africa, which is victory point number 13. So the Axis are 1 victory point away from achieving their objective. All right, so then let's go with the fourth and final battle that the Germans declared, and that is that the one naval transport from Sea Zone 98 picked up the 1 artillery division in Egypt at a count of 1, count of 2, and count of 3. It performs an amphibious landing and will be dropping this artillery division into Iraq. Okay, now this naval transport obviously can move at a count of 3 because there is a naval base in Egypt. Okay, all right, so there is an additional unit moving in, and that's one strategic bomber squadron coming all the way from Egypt. Okay, from Western Germany, and it's moving at a count of, let me see there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so it has 2 movements left in its gas gauge because there is an operational airbase in Western Germany. So allowing that bomber, strategic bomber, to actually move an additional 2 movements that is shown in its gas gauge there. All right, so that's it for the battles declared. Okay, and keep in mind, folks, that the Axis are now 1 victory point away from achieving their victory objective. Okay, so let's see if there are any other additional victory points that could be acquired by the end of this turn with Germany. Sit tight, and we shall come back with the order of battle, with the results of the order of battle. All right, so let's review the results for the order of battle. The combats that were performed. It was a total of 4 of them. Okay, as you can tell, the attack on Iraq was a successful one. The Germans were able to take Iraq. Okay, so that is now a territory controlled by the Germans. However, having said that, the defending British artillery division did successfully defend and was able to knock out the strategic bomber squadron that performed that attack. Obviously, Sire had a choice to make whether to keep that land territory that he was taking or sacrifice his bomber squadron, and that's exactly what he did. He sacrificed his strategic bomber so that he could take Iraq. Okay, and the reason why he's doing that is because the Axis badly need the European oil, that victory objective that they require. And so far they have one of the 4 territories that consist or make up the European oil. And that's Iraq, Northwest Persia, and Eastern Persia. So they have one of the 4 territories that make up the European oil. All right, so The other two battles, of course, I already went over them. This is just a walk-in for the German armored division that just blitzed into Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, and with its ultimate and final objective of Kenya, okay, are giving the Germans and Axis their 11th victory point. Okay, the final battle was the one in season 104 where the Germans obliterated the Allied naval fleet in season 104. This was a victory for the Germans. They were able to sink the American carrier with its Spitfire on board and a British cruiser and bomber and battleship. Of course, the Germans did lose their two submarines that assisted with that attack. All right, so now that's it for the order of battle, and we shall now go into the non-combat movements. And this is a key pivotal sequence for the Germans, because if they do this right, they will be able to secure the Atlantic Wall, which in essence will give them their 12th victory point. Yes, their 12th victory point. Let's see how it is that the Germans go about securing the Atlantic Wall. Sit tight. All right, so let's go over the non-combat movements that were made by the Germans. Okay, so C-Zone 98, you have the Naval Transport Fleet has been moved into C-Zone 96. You have 3 of them there, okay, in that region. Up further north, one German infantry division was brought over from Germany. This is key because the Germans need to block the Russians from potentially gaining the victory city of Warsaw. So this is a small move, but it's a big move. A very good move that was made. All right, so let's go over into Normandy. All right, not Normandy, but Norway. Okay, the Italians, the Germans were able to bring armored division from all the way from Syria. Okay, this was made possible because the German super bomber was able to bring this unit over and landed into Norway. This German armored division was brought over from Finland, and there are now 2 German armored divisions in Norway. Okay, so now a total of 4 German fighter squadrons, along with 2 German tactical bomber squadrons, are also brought over into Norway from the battle that took place in Sea Zone 104. Okay, so now you now have 2 German ground units in Norway. Okay, let's not forget that the Axis powers need at least 4 ground units to get their 12th victory point. Okay, so now the Germans reinforced Denmark with an additional 5 infantry divisions, making it 6 ground units that are now occupying Denmark. Okay, in Holland, you have a total of 4 German infantry divisions, along with 1 German artillery division. In Normandy, you have 1, 2, and 3 armored divisions, along with 2 infantry and 1 Italian AAA defending the territory of Normandy. Needless to say, the Atlantic Wall is almost set up, with the exception of 2 more units. Okay, with 2 more units. I'm assuming that the Italians will do their best at reinforcing Norway in order to achieve their 12th victory point. All right, so an additional 3 aircraft were brought over from Sea Zone 104 after that battle was completed. And you have now an additional 2 tactical and 1 fighter squadrons defending Morocco. Okay, and that's pretty much it for the non-combat movements. The Germans were able to place all of their purchase units. Of course, three of their newly built armored units were placed in Normandy. Okay, an additional 3 were placed in Egypt, and the rest of the units were actually spread out throughout the German Reich. Okay, obviously it's just for looks and giggles, I would say, but those units that were purchased were really unnecessary at this stage of the game. But in any case, this stage now is over. It's been a very interesting round. Definitely the situation for the Allies has turned critical. I know that earlier in the round, in this turn, I had said that it was more like a 50-50 chance for the Allies to win this game. However, I have to be honest, I think it's more like 2/3 that probability that the Axis will now win the game, with a 30% ratio that will be the Allies. So yeah, things are definitely getting interesting and very difficult for the Allies. However, having said that, the war is not yet over. Let's see if Lady Luck now smiles towards the direction of the Allies. All right, guys. The torch now has been turned over to Dutch Lancaster and his Russian Red Army. Let's see how things evolve for the Russians. Guys, don't forget to bunker down, and I'm very glad that you guys have stuck with us during this YouTube War series. Very interesting. Okay, don't forget that the Axis now have 11 of 12 victory points, and we shall see what happens. It's definitely very, very interesting, and I look forward to the very end of this series. Don't forget to bunker down and play.